Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our regular council meeting of November 4th, 2024. The first order of business is a call to order and a rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Second item on the agenda is the reading of our sunshine statement and roll call by municipal clerk, Mrs. Lauren Stats.
This meeting of the Dunellen Borough Council is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of November 4th, 2024 was included in a list of meetings that was advertised in the Courier on January 8th, 2024, and as a teleconference was noticed on the official Dunellen website on October 31st, 2024, and on the public bulletin board on North Avenue on October 31st, 2024, and has remained continuously posted as the required notice under the state statute. Mayor Salento,
Present.
Council President Albertson,
Present.
Mrs. Lance,
Here.
Mrs. Rios,
Here.
Mr. Scott,
Here.
Mr. Sigmund,
Here.
and Mr. Vandermark. Noted absent.
Item number 3 on the agenda is acknowledgements and proclamations. We have 2 this evening. First up is acknowledgement recognizing November as Native and American Heritage Month, and Councilmember Crissal Edis Lance will take the opportunity to read it.
Acknowledgement recognizing November as Native American Heritage Month. The land upon which the Borough of Dunellen stands is part of the traditional territory of the Lenni Lenape, called Lenape-Hoking. The Lenape people lived in harmony with one another upon this territory for thousands of years. During the colonial era and early federal period, many were removed west and north, but some also remain among the 3 continuing historical tribal communities of the region. The Nanticoke Lenni Lenape Tribal Nation, the Ramapo Lenape Nation, and the Powhatan Lenape Nation. We acknowledge the Lenni Lenape as among the original people of the land in this region, and we acknowledge their continuing relationship with this territory. In our acknowledgement of the continued presence of Lenape people in this region, we affirm the aspiration of the great Lenape chief, Tama Nend, that there be harmony between the indigenous people of this land and the descendants of the immigrants to this land, as long as the rivers and creeks flow and the sun, moon, and stars shine.
Okay, thank you, Council Member. Next up is a proclamation recognizing November as National Diabetes Awareness Month, being read by Council President Albertson.
Whereas National Diabetes Awareness Month is observed annually throughout the month of November to raise awareness about the prevalence, risks, and management of diabetes. And whereas diabetes affects 38.4 million people, 11.6% of the population of the United States, and it is a serious disease for which there is no known cure, and is the 8th leading cause of death by disease in the United States. And whereas approximately 1/4 of the Americans who have diabetes, 8 million, 23% of adults, do not know they have the disease. And whereas another 6 million, or 38% of American adults, has prediabetes, a condition which puts them at greater risk for developing the type 2 diabetes. And if current trends continue, 1 in 3 American adults will have diabetes by 2050. And whereas type 1 diabetes, T1D, is an autoimmune disease in which a person's pancreas is no longer able to produce insulin, a hormone that enables people to get energy from food. It occurs when the body's immune system attacks and destroys the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas called beta cells. While its causes are not yet entirely understood, scientists believe that both genetic factors and environmental triggers are involved. There is no prevention for T1D and at present, no cure. And people with T1D must check their blood sugar multiple times per day and inject themselves with insulin multiple times per day to survive. And whereas diabetes has many faces affecting everyone, young and old alike, Caucasians, African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, Asian Americans, and Pacific Islanders, with many unserved populations in the United States having an increased risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And whereas an increase in community awareness of risk factors and symptoms related to diabetes can improve the likelihood that people with diabetes will get the care they need before suffering devastating complications of the disease. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Jason F. Salento, Mayor of the Borough of Dunellen, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2024 to be Diabetes Awareness Month in the Borough of Dunellen, and urge all citizens of the borough to take cognizance of the event and participate fittingly in its observance.
Thank you, Council President Albertson. Item number 4 on the agenda is council discussion. We have one item, best practices inventory, which will be led by our municipal clerk, Mrs. Lauren Stats.
Each year, the Department of Community Affairs disseminates a best practices inventory and distributes it to all 564 municipalities. It is designed to ascertain the status of each municipal government practices in New Jersey. The inventory assesses each municipality's compliance with various laws and evaluates the implementation of fiscal and operational best practices. The inventory is regarded as one way taxpayers can evaluate their municipality's performance. This year, there were a total of 87 questions, 54 scored, and 33 unscored questions. Some of the topics were affordable housing, broadband, budgeting, capital projects, cybersecurity, ethics, financial administration, personnel, procurement, shared services, and compliance with filing the annual financial statements, as well as information that must be on our website. The unscored questions contain opportunities for a municipality to request from the DCA additional training or advice. The state can withhold some of our discretionary aid if we do not answer a sufficient number of questions. This year, we received a score of 43, thus we will be receiving full funding. You needed a 35 or greater to receive the full funding, and we did. We got the 43.
Good work to the administration and all involved to make sure that we meet that goal. So good job. Congratulations. Anything additional?
That's it. Everybody got a copy of the entire survey and all the questions and answers.
Thank you. Council? Okay,
Questions?
thank you. Next up is item number 5 on the agenda, approval of our meeting minutes. Can I have a motion and second on the regular meeting of October 21st, 2024?
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Are there any comments, additions, or redactions or edits to the meeting minutes of October 21st as they currently stand? Without hearing any, we will take a roll call, please.
Mrs. Albertson?
Yes.
Mrs. Lance?
Yes.
Mrs. Rios?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
And Mr. Sigmund?
Yes.
Item number 5 on the agenda is the adoption of an ordinance 2024-28. Can I have a motion on it to open it up to the public? 2024-28, an ordinance repealing Article 1 entitled Pay to Play of Part 1 Administrative Legislation of Chapter 10 Contracts of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of Dunellen.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Albertson.
Before we open the floor to the public, which we just opened it, I would ask our Borough legal counsel, Bill Robertson, to kind of just address this so public is aware of what it is.
This is really the nature of a housekeeping item. In 2023, the governor signed into law something known as the Elections Transparency Act that made various significant changes to New Jersey pay to play laws. And those laws it significantly, one of the things that it did was that it repealed a section law, the 48:11-51, that had previously allowed local municipalities to adopt their own additional restrictions on the pay-to-play regulations. The purpose of this ordinance is to repeal the borough's local pay-to-play ordinance, which is no longer authorized by New Jersey statutes. So that's effectively all this taking place. We are still governed by all of the state regulations. We've already pay-to-play. So that's all that's taking place here. It's administrative and housekeeping.
Thank you. So with that, we'll open the floor to the public for only 2024-28, the ordinance. Please state your name and address. We leave the floor to the public in person and online. Okay, without hearing anything from the public, we'll close that portion. We'll open the floor to mayor and council to have a discussion or ask any questions of Mr. Robertson beyond what he's already stated and what you understand in the ordinance. Okay, without further ado, we'll close that and we'll take a roll call, please.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
Item number 7 on the agenda is resolutions 314 through 320. If Mrs. Stats would so kindly read through, giving us the opportunity to ask any questions in between.
Sure. Resolution number 314 is to pay the bills.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Albertson.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
Resolution number 315 is to authorize a work change order for the Dunellen Firehouse rebuild.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Lance.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Abstain.
Mr. Scott,
Abstain, position in the fire department.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
Resolution number 316 is to approve a microblading license for Latrice Skin Beauty.
Move it, Rios.
Second, Sigmund.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
Resolution number 317 is to approve Lynn's Nails for a nail salon license.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
Resolution number 318 is for the transfer of appropriations for the 2024 operating accounts.
Move it.
Rios.
Second, Sigmund.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
Resolution number 319 is to authorize a tax overpayment refund.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
And resolution number 320 is to award a contract to CME Associates to perform engineering services for the North Avenue Improvement Project wayfinding at a cost not to exceed $39,700.
Move it, Rios.
Second, Sigmund.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mr. Sigmund.
Yes.
Okay, next up is council reports, item number 8 on the agenda. Council President Albertson.
Yes. Fire Department, call statistics for the month of October, 37 total calls, 18 false alarms, 5 hazmat, 9 good intent, 4 fire, 1 EMS. Year to date, 244 total calls. Monthly activity, October was another busy month for the fire department. They, whoops, sorry about that. They did a lot of emergency events, several drills and events in addition to emergency fire calls, which as we saw was a lot. On October 2nd, they continued to organize the firehouse and load equipment on new apparatus. October 4th, 5th, and 6th, they had factory operator training on the new truck 4, which is a ladder truck. October 8th, the drill to unload supply hose from truck 4. October 11th, participated in the Walk to School Day event. October 11th, participated in Greenbrook Fire Department open house event. October 14th was their monthly department work drill. October 15th, they conducted a fire safety demonstration for A+ preschool. On October 18th and 19th, they stood by the annual haunted trail. October 20th, they conducted an annual live burn drill at the Middlesex County Fire Academy. October 22nd, they repacked the hose on new engine 3 and truck 4. October 27th, they participated in the Founder's Day event and Halloween parade. October 30th, they participated in the American Legion's trunk or treat. And on October 30th, they had their monthly fire company meeting. Firehouse rebuild is progressing and nearing completion. H&S continues to delay final completion and has again missed another deadline to complete the project. Apparatus update, engine 3 was placed into service this past Saturday and already responded to 2 calls. Truck 4 members completed factory training and have begun driver's training. All equipment has been mounted and we expect to place the truck in service the week of 11/11. Membership, the Dunellen Defender Fire Company and Dunellen Fire Department are seeking new volunteer members. Anyone interested in joining can visit www.dunellenfd.com or email at joindfd@dunellenfd.com. Dunellen Downtown Management Organization will be celebrating Small Business Saturday on November 30th with a promotion similar to what they did last year. If you spend $100 in Dunellen and you send your receipts in, you will receive a $20 gift card for one of the businesses here in town. The Dunellen Carol Fund is collecting canned and non-perishable foods for Thanksgiving. Food goes to local families in need. If you have a turkey or would like to donate, please contact Terry Albertson or Laura Murray. You will be able to drop food off at the schools as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex, in terms of H&S and not meeting deadlines and delays, can you just advise council that Scott Brescher, you along with the chief are what are you working on and making sure we're holding them accountable?
Well, we've had a meeting with H&S. Chief Scott, Jeremy Lauer, Scott Brescher, Alec Live. It's slowly just they're dragging their feet on multiple things. But incompetent with your schedule, and it's just there's a lot of things that are not meeting deadlines, and they haven't been meeting deadlines since December.
Have you been kept abreast of this, Bill?
I have been, yes, and I'm
Yeah.
waiting for some of the background information to be prepared for what the next steps may be.
Okay.
Yeah, the last council meeting, it did, Chief Scott and I, Bill, and we were just talking about there's issues that's been going on, and at some point or another, it might turn into bigger issues.
Okay, so further discussion on that.
Yeah.
If we can have a meeting separate of this meeting, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Councilmember Rios?
Yes, Dunellen Recreation Department. As our fall soccer program is coming to an end, Recreation Department would like to thank all of our volunteer coaches. Without you, we cannot have a successful growing soccer program. This soccer season, we had 161 players, 21 volunteer coaches. Some coached multiple teams at different age levels. Recreation youth basketball registration will be opening up this week. The basketball season will begin Saturday, January 4th.
Practices will take place on Saturdays. Basketball is offered to kids in grades K through 6. Volunteer coaches are needed. If you are interested in becoming a volunteer coach, please email Rec Program Coordinator Kelly Cedar at kcedar@dunellenborough.com. Recreation Department Adult Pickleball Program. The pickleball program will begin later this month. We are waiting to hear back from the school regarding facility usage. Veterans Day ceremony, Saturday, November 11th. As always, the Recreation Department will support the Dunellen American Legion and the VFW Post on Monday, November 11th at Washington Memorial Park at 11 a.m. Please come out and support all of our amazing veterans. Dunellen Public Library, thank you to everyone who made our bike parade from Greenbrook IEF Elementary School to the Dunellen Public Library such a wonderful success, including the fantastic Touch a Truck event that wrapped up the parade. Special thanks to the Dunellen and Greenbrook Fire Department, DPW, Rescue Squad, Police Department, Dunellen Mayor, Greenbrook Mayor, library staff, and trustees for your support and participation. Please note the library will be closed November 11th in observance of Veterans Day. Don't forget to check out our website and Facebook page for new programs added and for a schedule of our current popular programs. Board of Ed. The fall school play will be 10 Ways to Survive a Zombie Apocalypse on November 15th at 7:30 and November 16th at 2 p.m. and at 7:30. Next Board of Ed meeting will be November 19th at 7:30. No school on Tuesday, November 5th, Thursday, November 7th, and the 8th. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Lance?
From Buildings and Grounds. Contractor has started installing the new call box system entry for the police lobby and chambers port entry, and is expected to take 3 days. This system will ensure the police lobby and council chambers entrance will be locked down off hours. There will be a call box system outside the entrance that will go directly to Somerset County Dispatch, who then will contact our police department officers who will likely be out patrolling. This is the same system we have inside the lobby presently. Updates on the new phone system. The new phone systems have been installed and about 80% set up. They replaced an outdated 20-year-old system, and now all the departments, including the Public Works and Construction Office for the borough, will have an audio attendant. The system will streamline municipal operations, improve communication, and enhance efficiency across all departments. Furthermore, the phone system will forward all voicemails to each department and enable direct communication between departments through the internal system. A conference call system has been added, which will be beneficial in facilitating more cross-departmental meetings and collaborative efforts. This new phone system is projected to save the borough around $10,000 annually. An update for the Columbia Park camera system. The school district is still in the process of upgrading the new system at Columbia Park. As in the past, the borough will be working with the district as part of a shared service agreement and video access to the park. And that's all.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Sigmund?
Yes, I just want to personally thank all of the coaches for the rec soccer program this year, especially Coach Ed, who is coaching our team right now, sans me, since I'm here at the meeting. So thank you all, and thank you to the rec program for allowing us to do an end of the year party. We're really excited for that coming up. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Scott?
So the DPW continues their routine cleaning of the downtown borough parks and properties. The weekly lawn and landscape maintenance of the borough parks and properties. Leaf cleanup, the borough properties and parks, leaf bag pickup throughout the borough. And just a reminder, they will continue to pick up through the end of the year. They've removed debris from the trash trap, continue watering the new trees downtown. They've done the brickwork around the new trees, installed new street signs on South Madison and Center, painted yellow curbs downtown, and ran multiple loads of leaves to the compost site in East Brunswick. The borough mechanic's been busy servicing the police fleet of vehicles that have come up for maintenance, repaired all issues with the fleet as needed, upfit the fleet vehicle for OEM use, installed the emergency radio in the Detective Bureau vehicle, repairs to the existing Detective Bureau fleet vehicles, service the refuse truck for the upcoming leaf season, which is in full swing. Adjust and confirm the leaf equipment is fully operational as they move into the leaf season pickup. And repair the DPW Durango, which was poor drivability and some stalling issues. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. For me this evening, first up is tomorrow's election day, November 5th. If you're voting by mail, you can return your mail-in ballot 3 different ways. You can have it postmarked by 8 p.m. on election day and have the Board of Elections receive it within 6 days post-election, so long as it's postmarked before 8 p.m. on the day of the election. You can place in the safe, secure drop box by 8 p.m. on election day, which is at the Dunellen Public Library. Put that in my notes before I forget. Dunellen Public Library. You can also deliver it in person to the County Board of Elections in New Brunswick by 8 p.m. on election day. So that's if you're voting by mail in person. Districts 1, 3, 4, and 6 will be at Lincoln Middle School at 400 Dunellen Avenue. Districts 2 and 5 will be at the Dunellen Senior Center at Columbia Park. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Remember to thank a poll worker as they are working hard to help make sure our elections are safe and fair. Also keep in mind, I highly encourage, regardless of what the outcome is tomorrow night, we're all Americans first and foremost. That bond is more important than any outcome of an election. We'll always have an election, but being neighbors, family, friends, that's an invaluable bond. So please remember that connection. Don't lose friendships or neighborly love because of who you may be voting for and your neighbor or family member may be. So God bless America. We're Americans first. So whatever the outcome, just remember Americans first, okay? That's just me on my soapbox. I'll get off it for now. Penfield Place and Maple Avenue, New Jersey American Water Project. The New Jersey American Water finished the project last week by milling and paving both the 200 block of Penfield and all of Maple Avenue. And they also finished that section of Oak that they tore up. This project included new water main and water services to each residential home, new fire hydrants, and newly milled and paved streets. The borough removed and replaced severely damaged curbs and gutter sections. We also woke up and saw that a school zone was painted over there. That'll be fixed. So for the neighbors that live in that area of town, it'll be fixed. So no, there's no school going over there. Downtown trees from Madison Ave to the 200 block of North Avenue. 5 more trees were planted last week in various locations on North Ave between Washington Avenue and Madison Ave. The DPW crew has been installing the brick around the planter opening with cement, which will maintain the stability of the bricks. They're doing a great job, so thank you for them doing that. Comcast, you may have noticed, started installing on Thursday. The borough, well, let's handle this now. Yeah. So the borough, we put a stop to that work because we noticed the project, they were installing cable peds, which are those ugly looking green boxes, which was not part of the plans. We would not have signed off on that. So after discussion and some colorful language with Comcast on Friday, they confirmed that they will be using the surface vaults instead. So basically, if you have like a water meter by the curb line, it'll look like that, but a little bit bigger and like a square. So this way you're not visibly seeing something placed up. There will be some housing and power supply boxes at various locations, most likely one on each block, just because there has to be some source of power to these things. I guess my saying would be is if you are unhappy with the location, please reach out to Alex Miller. We'll work with Comcast to see if there's a better location. There will be a few boxes. We can't get around that. That's just part of the deal, but they weren't supposed to be boxes every other house the way that they were putting them up. They're supposed to be that flat surface to the ground. So you're not visually obstructing the neighborhood. But at the end of the day, it's good news. We have Comcast coming in. Probably not the best way they should have rolled out, but we stopped them and made sure that they did the appropriate and right thing for the borough of Dunellen. So, and thank you to Karen and Al, who are part of the Dunellen team on that project. They worked with us to make sure that they did a quick turnaround. So, and thank you to Alex because he was getting an earful too. So thank you. But just reassurances, if any of your neighbors are questioning or asking, those boxes with exception of specific locations, they'll be removed and it'll be a flat surface box. Our engineers report, as you noticed, wayfinding signage, meeting was conducted with the Downtown Management Organization, from my understanding. The sign details have been modified per those comments from DDMO and the borough's comments. CME is preparing the DOT permit and local aid submissions. You saw that resolution this evening. Klein Place, completion corrective work remains as part of the punch list. So more update on that as it comes along. Lincoln Avenue, the final reimbursement figures are under review by the DOT, which is the Department of Transportation. The borough anticipates will ultimately receive the entire grant, which the final reimbursement should be around $300,000, which would be nice to pay down our debt services. Washington Avenue street lighting bids are scheduled to be received on November 14th, which will occur in these chambers, correct? Right. Okay. Second Street Phase 1, the NJDOT has authorized the bidding of the project. A meeting was conducted with the mayor's Traffic and Pedestrian Safety Task Force. Their comments are being incorporated into the plans and we're developing a bid schedule. Railroad Culvert, which is the South Avenue project. CME has coordinated a meeting with the I-Bank to discuss the status. Also requested a meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers to discuss the Greenbrook project, because Greenbrook projects can impact the timeframe in which that project now gets done. Strip joiner 635 Boundbrook Road, demolition contract to be bid upon completion of the building assessment. So we're one step closer, Rescue Squad. CME has been discussing the streetlight conversion costs with Mike Coyle of PSE&G as directed by Frank Lucchesi. I always pronounce it Lucchesi. Okay, should have known that. Mr. Coyle has in turn contacted Bob Hughes of PSE&G regarding the borough's concerns, and so we await his response. That's basically converting all the soft lights of the Victorian decorative lights and making them all LED to match what the grant ones will be coming up. So we have a nice cohesive look. Mara House, the building assessment has been authorized and they're scheduling a kickoff meeting. So that'll be fun, won't it? Based on discussions at the engineers' recent projects meeting, they've been preparing and submitting the following: an updated budget letter for the Second Street Phase 2, which is the second part of the grant we have, which will hopefully start design and engineering into the new year. That proposal for the Mara House. They're also preparing a budget letter for the rapid beacon light installations at Newmarket and Grove and Washington and Orange based upon the safe routes to transit grant. Budget letter for streetscape lighting on North Avenue from Middlesex Borough border to Madison, which is the Transit Village grant. Budget letter for the 2025 MS4 permit requirements, and proposal for the rapid beacon light installations at Madison and First, Madison and Dunellen, Washington and First, and Washington and Dunellen. In response from the DOT, because we've been waiting for the DOT to do ADA compliant ramps throughout the entire downtown, but I don't want to say we threw a wrench into it. We asked them because we got money for more rapid beacon lights in the downtown so you can cross North Avenue safely. We asked them to incorporate that into the contract. So they're currently looking at that and reviewing it if it can be underneath the contract as it currently stands. So last thing I will do is I will do my annual volunteers wanted call out. Volunteers have a meaningful contribution to the countless numbers of Dunellen successes over the years. We wouldn't be where we're at without our volunteers who serve on our borough committees and commissions and boards. So if you're interested in helping out too, whether that means you're appointed to a committee or commission or task force, or you simply just want to volunteer, there's many ways to do so. I ask that you please go online on the website, apply, put your name forward, and see what you're willing to do for the town. We can only move this town forward for those people, with people stepping forward. So applications will be considered for appointments to fill vacant seats and based upon the interest of an experience based upon volunteers. So visit us at Dunellen-nj.gov and sign up and volunteer. That's it from me this evening. Department heads, let's start with legal. Anything?
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Okay, great. I guess no legal report's a good report. Municipal clerk,
Nope, you spoke about elections, so all good.
anything I miss?
Nope.
Okay. Let's thank Lauren and Brianna, from the clerks and registers office, they're gonna be waking up bright and early at 4 AM to make sure that our elections are good tomorrow. So thank you for your service. And, we gotta get this, we gotta stop prolonging this meeting because she's got some Z's to catch up on. So, IT? No report. Administration?
Yeah.
I thought we'll give them till like 10:45.
Thank you. On the Comcast, to touch on that conversation, I know a lot of things have been flying around on social media about the ped. And the peds that were installed, they're gonna be removed. And
Yeah.
replaced. And I know there's a lot of conversation back and forth about right away, and.
Good
people
point.
Saying it's different, the distance to the right of way. And I'm just telling you right now, every street in Allen has different right of way. So it's not like each street is 3 feet off of the curb. Some street, I think it's Third Street, on one end is, the street width is 8 feet. And the other right of way distance is 60 feet, which means if the street is 40 feet, there's only 20 feet of right of way on each side. So, not that they would stick, a 10 or something like that, 40 feet, something, but just so residents understand the right of way is where the borough is going to work with utilities or infrastructure needs in the right of way. But normally it's somewhere, within a couple of feet from the curb, somewhere between the sidewalk and curb, usually, or somewhere right next to the sidewalk. It's not like it's a stick, something, a pen or a box, 20 feet. Like, I know that people are being comment about right of way, and the right of way means it's the resident's property.
Yeah, let's clarify. We do not own that property. I know that's a misunderstanding. We do not own that property. But for the utilities and other services that need to be provided to your property that are public, we need the easement in order to get to your property. So that's,
But it's the resident's property, but it's the right of way.
Yep. And I will respectfully say to those who feel that this was not rolled out well, there was multiple press releases, multiple newsletters in print and in email. And the Comcast did go door to door, leaving door hangers. So I'm sorry for those who might not have seen it, but just because you did not see it does not mean we did not do it. So,
And then, back on that. The town is desperately needing another provider. And then, again, competition makes the other company better, and this happens in every town. So other towns that have Comcast have the same situation. Alternate round. So working places like South Plainfield and such. For a while, everybody will be okay. What's going on.
well, it's a bit of a shock. I get that. Is that it from administration? Because Lauren's got to go to sleep.
Sorry, guys.
Well, we don't have somebody from, well, Chaplain, do you want to say anything for the firehouse?
Going well, we have a lot of work going down here doing stuff, holding on. Between that and the fall, and everybody's doing well, even George Hodges, hanging in there. Hanging in there.
God bless them.
We got guys checking on them every now and then, making sure it's fine, and, that's about it, we're doing well.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. You too, Mr. Green. Rescue Squad?
Sure, a lot of events in October, we were able to successfully attend from the Dunellen Rescue Squad. If we weren't able to, we were more than likely on a rescue squad call. So, able to maintain our current high quality service while, living in, tent behind the fire department. So we're very appreciative of the fire department sharing the space, continuing, and the borough working with us on the, relocation. So, just go to our website, DunellenRescue.org, if you're interested in more information, volunteering with us, we take all that. Thank you.
And I hear you're having a membership growth.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we, this past month, we brought on 3 new members. So, Yeah,
Good
so
work.
We're getting more members. We're training them, or we're putting them through the run through. So, we're in service, we're doing calls, we're getting training, we're doing the whole thing. So, we're up to more than 20, closer to 30 members.
Nice, good job. God bless. It's good. We want to keep that local, so good work. Keep it up. Captain, anything from the police department's perspective? No, nothing? Okay, thank you for your service. Okay, with that, we'll open up the floor to the public. It's item number 10 on the agenda. We'll do the in-person, then online, and then a general. So anybody in person, for public comment, please state your name and address. The microphone's up here. I will note, we have been having, complaints that I personally have had complaints that, we can't hear. So if you're able to make it to the microphone, I would appreciate it. If not, we'll try and get it close back as possible. Okay, now the floor is open to the public. State your name and address, please. And the microphone is up here. Okay. Anybody online, from the public, please state your name and address, and, we're all ears. Okay, I'll do one more blanket for both online and in person. Please state your name and address. We are here to listen to your concern. Okay, without further ado, we will close item number 10 on the agenda, which is public comments. Next up is item number 11, adjournment, which is resolution number 321. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Lance.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Waiting for that day. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. Our next council meeting is November 18th, 2024 at 7 PM in these council chambers. You can join it both in person and virtually. And until then,